Here we go. And we are streaming. Gonna double check the streams. Last time I goofed this up and I wasn't live on Facebook when I thought I was. There we go. I see I am live on YouTube and Facebook. Let me switch to my other account. I have a couple of accounts on Facebook. None of them are bots. There we go. I am live. It is Sunday night, September 28th. Welcome to 21st Century Adulting Office Hours, beating the Sunday scaries. Not so scary tonight for people in Wisconsin. We've got a Sunday night Packer game, which may preempt the end of this show. We will see how things go. I know I want to watch some of the game. Get back to my book. I actually picked up a book this weekend. It is difficult for me because I like to go, but I've got a book that I've been reading by William Gibson. If you're into science fiction, you've probably heard of him. Neuromancer was his 1984 book that won a Hugo Award and a Nebula Award. Just brilliant work. This is something called the Jackpot Trilogy, and I picked the second book to start, and the third one's not out yet, so I'm doing it kind of movie style, right? I'm going to get in on the middle of the story, and then I'm going to go back in time and get it like it's a prequel. I'll get the first book in the series, and then by the time the third book comes out, I may have forgotten both of the first ones, but it's a pretty cool book. Conceptually, it's like there's multiple universes almost, like a multiverse kind of feel, but like one is maybe really real and the other ones are what they call stubs, and there's like these agents that go between the universes and they're hunting down rogue AIs and stuff like that that go across the universes. They use peripherals, which is the title of the first book. This one is called Agency. So they use these peripherals, or like robots that they can go into in a different universe. And it's really cool. Kind of reminds me of Threeps in some of John Scalzi's work. Really good book. So what do we have on the agenda today, Travis? A couple of things. Number one, we're going to talk about letting go because it's something I spent some time looking at this morning. As part of, I do these posts on my social media for those that don't follow me yet, called Spiritual Sunday. Every Sunday morning, evolving. It used to be something where I just reposted something that kind of spoke to me and my view on religion and or spirituality. Depending on how you define those things, they can either be very similar or not. And depending on how you're trying to work with those terms, it may or may not make sense. But the point is, I've been expanding recently, and when I'm doing these Spiritual Sunday posts, I've been having a theme, and then I will pull in some quotes from like Buddhism, some verses from the Bible that are somewhat similar, and then some stuff maybe from modern psychology to kind of bring it all together and show how like it doesn't matter what or where you get these things from. This wisdom is universal, and you can find it from multiple sources. It doesn't have to be from a religion like Christianity, an ancient wisdom tradition like Buddhism, or modern day science. But when you can see the same thing repeated across all of these places, it gives you a stronger sense of there's something to it. There's something real there, which allows you to buy into it more. When you use whatever psychotechnology is a term I've heard for these types of things, whatever you use that psychotechnology, you can do it with more belief and get more out of it. And that's the kind of pattern I'm going with. Also kind of working with carousels more on Instagram and trying to figure out how to use those, and may turn it into videos at some point for Facebook. This morning, I also expanded my research a little bit into Judaism and Islam for the concept of letting go, and seeing that there were aspects in those religions as well. I didn't include it in my post because I don't know as much about those, and I wasn't going to go with something I researched with Gemini for about a half hour and say, yes, this is a good, accurate representation of what they believe in that tradition. No need. Hopefully people out there, if you are practicing a different religion and you know the corollary in your tradition that people would comment on that and share as they see fit. So that's letting go. Something we're going to talk about. We're not going to talk about the Packers. That's after the show, playing the Cowboys. I think they're going to win. Somebody's like, yeah, but the Cowboys are a good team. And I'm like, the Packers, they're a good team. Have you seen them lately? Even their loss last week, like their defense played pretty good. Their offense kind of stumbled a little bit, but maybe the Browns have a really good defense. I'm not sure. I don't watch them that much. I don't follow football as closely as I used to. I enjoy watching the game with friends. I don't pay too much attention between the games because I am a very busy guy with a lot of hobbies. So letting go. I think my first exposure to it like 10 years ago in the concept of the term let go was seeing a meme that was essentially let go or be dragged. And I'm like, let go or be dragged. And I was resisting something in my life at the time and kind of clinging to it and suffering because of it. It was something that I really had no power over, had no control over. And I was choosing to cling to my feelings of against this. Like, I don't know about this. I don't like this. I wish it weren't so. And that's in the Buddhist tradition, that's what they call kind of clinging, right? Like you have to let go of your preconceived notions about what you think is going to happen. You have to let go of the part of you that is rejecting reality at the moment and saying, this isn't right. I wish it wasn't so. And just focusing on that feeling and letting go is part of the way to do that, to tie it into the Christian aspect of letting go. When I think of let go, we could get back to some of the Buddhism piece there. But from a Christian perspective, letting go, I equate to like Jesus saying, like, just forget about it. Like, let God take care of it. Just do the thing that I'm telling you to do, right? Like, be nice to people, love people, take care of people. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do. Whatever it else is you're worried about, it's okay to have plans. It's good to have goals and plans. But if they're not working out, or if there's something beyond your control, just let God take care of it. And letting go also can be thought of in like the Serenity Prayer. That Alcoholics Anonymous shares and has their members repeat and recite, right? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the strength to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And how does let go fit into that? Well, let go is recognizing those things you can't change. Those things you can't change, you have to let go of whatever it is in your psyche that is opposed to that. You have to accept not the fact that is happening and will always happening, but you do have to accept the fact that it has already happened. Things in the past brought you to where you are today, into this situation, whatever situation it is that you're resisting, that you're not liking. Just simply focusing your attention on how you feel about that isn't going to change anything. It's grabbing that hot coal and saying, I'm just going to sit here and waste my time and my energy being mad about reality being the way it is. So you need to let go of that. So you stop burning your hand, you stop wasting your time, you stop wasting your energy. Feeling these, replaying and focusing on these negative feelings about a situation. And you need to, once you've let go of it, you can get a little bit of distance and say, okay, it's no longer I am angry because X happened. It's I noticed that I got angry because X happened. And you get a little bit of distance, and then you can remind yourself that all these feelings are temporary. All these situations are temporary. it's okay to be angry that something happened. That's like a hallmark, that's a marker saying there's probably something that, if you can do something about this, you should do something about this. But you have to let go of the anger and put your focus on what can I actually control? What can I do? I've now let go of my negative feelings. I've recognized them. I tried to get some distance from them. Now, what can I control to try and make things better? To try and say, this is where I am now. I don't like where I am now. I can't change where I am right now. But the things I do now can change the future. What can I do now to change the future in a more positive way? And if you're resisting the now, if you're not accepting it, you can't change it, right? It's similar like with, again, back to the alcoholics. If you refuse to admit that you're an alcoholic, you're not going to do anything about it because you're not accepting reality. You're kind of maybe wishing, like, I wish I didn't have to deal with this, whatever it is about being an alcoholic. But you have to admit and accept the current situation to be able to figure out what you can do about it and how you want to change it in the future. So the psychology aspect of this is what they call ACT, or acceptance commitment therapy, is like a branch of cognitive behavioral therapy that has a lot of common aspects to it. So one of its processes is to actively and non-judgmentally embrace thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations exactly as they are. And that's part of Buddhism too. It's like you are not anger, you have anger. You have an angry emotion that is a part of you that is temporary. And you have to accept that. And some Buddhist monks even say you care for that part of yourself like it is a child, and you show up for your anger and you have compassion for it. There's a part of you, back to therapy, there's like family systems therapy, is you think about all these different emotions and thoughts as different parts of you. There's a part of you that is angry. It is not the entirety of you, but it is a part of you, and how you move beyond it is to take care of it. Think of it as a child that you need to take care of, and that is how you can move through it instead of fighting it, like just faking it and saying, I am not angry at all. Well, maybe that works for you. Probably doesn't. That is more akin to like suppressing or denying your feelings, and you can end up just like stuffing them down. And sooner or later you're packed full of negative emotions, and the smallest thing will happen and you just start crying and you don't know why from all the stress. So acceptance commitment therapy says the same thing. You're supposed to care for your emotions. You have to accept them and take care of them as you would a child, so you can move on. With Christianity, it's somewhat the same in that it's like saying, give all of your problems to God. You can pray. You can say, hey, God, I am giving you this. Hey, Jesus, like, here you go. This is all the stuff. I realize I can't change it. I'm giving it to you to worry about. And then it's easier to focus on something else. So in a lot of ways, it is letting go. It's saying, these are things that bother me. I don't want to be anxious about them. You've got a friend in God that can take those worries from you, from things you can't deal with. That's up to God to sort out. You're admitting in a way that these things are beyond your control. You've figured out what is beyond your control, and you're going to trust that God has a plan, that things will work out, and you only have to focus on what you can control. So there's somewhat different mechanisms and thought processes behind them, but the whole way it's pretty much the same, in my opinion. It's all about letting go of things we can't control, so we can spend our energy maximizing the things we can control, because you do in the end have some control. You can't snap your fingers and magically change everything in an instant, right? You can't change what has actually happened and what is the situation right now. but you can change the future. And it, in fact, is your responsibility to do that for yourself and others. The one piece I remember when I was looking at Islam is there was a saying, I forget the second half, but the first half was, it was essentially like, I have tied my camel and now it is up to Allah, which is the way I understand it is saying, like, you've got a camel, you've got a horse in the race, you've got some influence, you've got some control. That saying was along the lines, I have done my part and now I'm going to leave this up to Allah. And it's a letting go of these things that really end up more often than not either making us feel depressed or making us feel anxious. And in both of those states of mind, we are focused on things we can't control. We are obsessing over the past. We've taken a trip down memory lane and we're upset about something that has happened, or we're looking at the trajectory of where we've come from and where we're about to go, and we're doing a worst case scenario analysis and we're anxious about what the future may hold. And anytime we are either focusing on the pieces we can't control, focusing on the past, or focusing on the future, we're not able to exercise our agency, our power in the moment to either just enjoy life in the moment, because that's like the only time you can really enjoy it. In fact, Thich Nhat Hanh, my favorite Buddhist teacher, has this saying. He says, letting go gives us freedom, and freedom is the only condition for happiness. If in our heart we still cling to anything, anger, anxiety, or possessions, we cannot be free. So very, very much true, right? Like, we need freedom. If we have freedom, we should be able to find happiness. We often put far too many conditions on what we need to be happy. But if we have freedom, if we have some level of freedom, we've got the ability to choose to be happy. And the number one thing that gets in our way of recognizing and using the freedom we have is clinging to things that we think this should be, or I need this, or I need that, or this didn't work out well, I wish it would have worked out better. That's all like getting stuck in our own heads. We're not letting go of things that we would be better off letting go of, because if we let go of them, we can find freedom. And if we can find freedom, we can be happy. So that was letting go. And that was the first topic we have today. Last time, I know I picked a word from Lost for Words. Next, we're going to do Lost for Words here. And we're scrolling back through the week. A lot of good food. I didn't show all of it. Milka, that's probably the find of the week from World Market. It's some German creamy chocolate with like a cream in the middle, and the one I got had Oreo in there. Oh man, that was good. Milka, where is the word of the week? I will find out how to pronounce it. How do I pronounce it? Hey, Google, how do you pronounce it? Here we go. Firgun. 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 Firgun is a Hebrew word for feeling pride and joy for another's success. And when I pulled this card for my Lost for Words games, Firgun, I thought that's a really good word. Like, everyone knows about Schadenfreude, right? Like feeling happy at somebody else's misery. And it's like, I get it, but it's not all positive. I like to stay on the positive side of things. So feeling pride and joy for another's success. For me, this one was relatively easy. The first thing I can think of is my children. It's easy for parents to feel pride and joy for the success of their kids. When my kids were in sports and they scored a goal or they stopped a goal, or when they got advanced placement English or math, or they're in choir and they're doing really good. Whenever I see them succeeding, I feel immense pride and joy for their success, because that was, in my mid 20s, it was kind of like my meaning or my purpose was to have kids and to raise them right, and to hopefully have happy kids that had a good life. And when I see them doing these things, I'm happy for them, and I have joy for the pride that they must feel for their own success. And I've got some level of pride for what I've done to put them in that situation. So, Firgun, pride and joy for another's success. It's probably the most clear example. Like when I volunteer, I've done some volunteering and helped people accomplish things, feeling some pride and joy there. But some of that, I guess in both of those cases, some of that is pride for what I've put into the situation. Otherwise, I'm not sure what pride there could be. Theoretically, like Olympic athletes, perhaps when it's Olympics time, you're feeling patriotic and your team just kills it. Like Michael Phelps, when he was dominating the swimming world. I mean, sure, there's some pride and joy for his success. And that's, may you find an opportunity this week for Firgun, for feeling pride and joy for another person's success. So that is our word of the week. What else do we want to talk about? Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, for those who play. A lot of fun. I've been in one for 2.5 years. We're wrapping up after 2 more sessions, and then I get to be the dungeon master. Totally fun. I'm excited. We're going to use D&D Beyond as the platform. I got some homebrew creations. I owe my players. Sorry, they're not done yet. One is a species. They're going to be a pixie. We're going to modify the rules a little bit so it fits the campaign and what I want to do. That's going to be pretty cool. We got like a month and a half till we start, so I got a little bit of time, but I'm pretty excited about that. Again, I'm using D&D Beyond as the platform for our character sheets and stuff. I don't know how much we're going to get into the virtual tabletop things. Maybe if I do like solo side adventures, because it's going to be a lot of 1 shots, 2 shots, 3 shots. And then there's going to be gaps in between where the characters can learn things and apply different skills. So there's opportunities for maybe side quests and stuff like that along the way. But I think the biggest thing for me was just all the tools. Like I haven't been a DM in over 20 years. And all the tools now, they're pretty neat. It's nice to be able to whip characters together really quickly and have all the rules kind of pulled in for you. You don't have to go through 15 different books and find everything. It was kind of fun in some ways. It felt kind of like Gandalf going through the library in Minas Tirith and plopping down dusty books and paging through them. But it's fun to not have to do that and spend more time on the campaign. I found a really cool map maker, Asgar's Fantasy Map Generator. It took me a little while to figure it out, but I got like this continent kind of laid out, and a bunch of different nation states, and like how the technology of the time and the situation in the different nations, like what the political dynamics are, kind of laid out. I'm kind of inviting the other players in the campaign to come in and define what certain things are. I know I tell people that aren't familiar with role playing what it is, and I'm like, at its best, it's not like a board game or a dice game or anything like that. It really, at its heart, the way I like to play it at least, is this creative, collaborative storytelling. The dice are just there to help give you a little bit of hint of random and maybe make things a little bit dicier than they would be than they would be without the mechanics to say, oh, I didn't want that to happen, but guess what? You died. I'm not going to kill my players. I'm going to try not to, at least. They may die, but they can be resurrected. It's okay. So that's cool. And it's also been a fun use of artificial intelligence for me. Like I said, I started off with a document in Google Docs, and then I fed that into Gemini, and I started going back and forth with it about the campaign world. I gave it kind of like the big arc for the story and some of the players, some of the groups involved, and I'm kind of collaborating, going back and forth, and I'm not just telling it to build the whole campaign for me. I'm literally collaborating, and it'll spit a bunch of stuff out and it'll say, I like that part. I'm going to incorporate that. Now I'm going to go search and I'm going to ask more questions. And as I go along, I'll continue to build up these documents, and then I'll have them to feed back into Gemini. I'll probably actually put them in Notebook LM along with some source books and stuff like that, so I can just ask Gemini when I need help coming up with a plot line or something like that. It can, or if I need help remembering what happened, it should be able to help me. And for that matter, it made me think along the way, like, I don't know why D&D Beyond, but it would be cool if they just had that as part of their platform too, like generative AI baked in there. I know there's some beef people have with using generative AI and instead of like having actual people write things, but I'm more of the opinion like it's a good tool. I'm not telling you to have it do the whole thing for you, but to collaborate on parts of it and give you ideas. If you don't have someone to collaborate with, I think collaborations tend to be better in the end. If you've got a ton of time and you're a genius, you want to do it yourself, yeah, you probably can. If you're like me, you could do all the creative stuff yourself, but you just don't have the time and you want someone to bounce ideas off. Generative AI can be really good for that. I might get into also having like more detailed descriptions of NPCs and stuff like that, and generating images of NPCs or locations. I've played with it a little bit. I think I want to lean more on using pre-existing stuff that's already out there, because if you're just doing like text manipulation in generative AI, that doesn't consume nearly as many resources as image generation. That uses a lot more power and water. And then you get into video generation that uses even more. I even saw a study on, I think it was MIT, that they did a study and like they generated a 20-second video. They measured the resources that it took. And then they generated a 40-second video. So the video was twice as long, but it used 4 times as much resources to generate that longer video. So, I mean, I'm sure they can, they'll find a way to make these things more efficient, but it was kind of a like, holy cow, like it's exponential how much resources it uses the longer these videos get, which is kind of crazy. I didn't exactly expect it would be like that. Take that longer. So that's the whole D&D thing. Looking, I got like 15 minutes left before the Packer game. I'm excited to watch that. So I think we're going to wrap things up pretty soon. For those who remember from last week, Rocky's not doing that great. He's still kicking. He's accustomed to being an outside dog now. He doesn't like sit there and and stare at you with sad puppy dog eyes when you're going in the back door. Like, he's an outside dog now, and he seems pretty happy. He always comes out to greet people when they leave the back, try and get out more and just hang out with them. He got a bath yesterday. He got new bedding and all that stuff. He's going on walks twice a day. I'm not sure how much longer he's got. It's a hard thing because, like, with the way that it is, he's just going to, like, someday he's not going to be able to, like, poop anymore. Or he's going to start to have a hard time with it, and then he's going to start to get constipated, and then, like, he's going to get backed up and be uncomfortable and sick, like, relatively quickly. And I think with my last dog, Jazzy, like, she was kind of sick, and then all of a sudden she was, like, just shaking all the time and, like, clearly, like, not doing well. It was easy to tell that it was time to take her in and figure out what was going on. We didn't even know that she had cancer. But now with Rocky, it's like, I don't think it's the best to wait until, like, oh my God, he's clearly suffering. Now we should take him in and put him to sleep. I think it's sad to say, it's kind of like poop watch. Like, once he can't really poop anymore or is having a hard time with it, it's probably going to be time to take him in, and it's kind of a sad thing. And I feel bad, like, telling the kids. Like, I talked to my son in college today, and I was talking to him about it, and I hated being like a buzzkill, but he's part of the family. The dog's part of the family. He needs to know. So yeah, but for now, Rocky's still kicking. he's still eating. He's getting his walks in. He's having a good time. He had energy to chase after a rabbit today. So he is doing well. And if there are no questions in the chat, I think there is one other thing. Let's see what else we had here that I saved from the week. I'm going to save this one for next week because that's a whole topic right there. That is a whole topic. Yeah, we'll call that a day. We will call that a day. Thanks for stopping by. Enjoy the Packer game. Go Pack, go. We'll see you next Sunday. And cut. I said cut. You didn't cut. How do I cut? Restream. How do I pause preview? Live. I don't know. Maybe I go to channels and I turn